in Ingalls Cancer Research Program. She received the latest care right here in our community, rather than having to travel downtown or even to other parts of the country. Please welcome Susan Fine.
My name is Susan Fine, and I am not only a cancer patient, but I'm also a proud member of the leadership team at Ingalls. I'd like to applaud all of you for coming out today and supporting the Cancer Research Program. Thank you very much. My experience with cancer and even cancer research started a long time ago. My mother was diagnosed with metastatic colon cancer at 51 years old and died less than a year later. Besides the surgery, there were no treatments available to her, so she entered an early-stage cancer clinical trial offered only at the National Cancer Institute in Washington. The drug went on to become an important standard treatment for colon cancer and many other things. At the time, her doctor told my sister, my cousin, and me that having early colon cancer in the immediate family puts us at high risk, and we should all be checked immediately. We had our colonoscopies, and at 28 and 30 years old, we all had precancerous polyps taken off our colons, snipped easily during the same procedure. They called this one mostly a slow-growing cancer. But you could see how long it would have been there if we had waited until the recommended screening age of 50. I repeated over the years as directed, most of the time clean, one other time there was something, but each time I felt good, like I dodged a bullet. I've been a lifelong proponent of routine colonoscopy screenings, so consider that my commercial on the subject. Of course, I did regular mammograms, always on top of that, annual pap tests, anything I was supposed to do to take care of myself. In July of 2009, I celebrated making it to my 53rd birthday, a year past my mother, but already I wasn't feeling well. Pain in my side, persistent indigestion and heartburn, frequent need to urinate with little results. I was bloated and uncomfortable in my clothes, and I felt full quickly. I knew it wasn't regular weight gain, but I was really busy, and I put off looking into it. I assumed it was something gastrointestinal, but it really wasn't causing any drastic change in my lifestyle, so I let it go. By the time I finally went to see my physician and was sent for a CT, it was November. My dear longtime friend, Dr. Terry Gilbert, the medical director, who I'm sure many of you know, had to have the conversation with me that I'm sure he most dreads. It was a stage 4 ovarian cancer, all over my abdomen and into my lungs. Turns out those are fairly typical symptoms of ovarian cancer, but unfortunately the symptoms don't usually appear until the disease is pretty far along. My oncologist, Dr. Mark Kozloff, had a course of therapy in mind, but still made calls to colleagues at all the universities just to check if there were any new research going on that he wasn't aware of. Starting a treatment can make you ineligible for a clinical trial, so it helps to determine the options right up front. All the physicians and surgeons agreed that it was too extensive for surgery, that they'd start with the standard of care chemo and see if it responds. I would only become a surgical candidate if it shrunk significantly. And it did. Immediately and dramatically. 4 rounds of chemo, pretty extensive surgery, and another 4 rounds of chemo, but every scan was better. Frankly, I was glad I didn't ask specific questions or look up my stats right away because they were pretty daunting. Because my disease was found in late stages, there is a 70% chance of recurrence in the first 2 years and just about a 25% chance of being alive in 5 years. Finding it earlier does make a difference, but again, symptoms are generally commonplace ailments, and there currently are no good screening tools. But as my treatment progressed, Dr. Kozloff said he'd eventually keep me on just one of the 3 drugs I had been taking as a maintenance therapy. A few months after he told me about it, it was announced at the big annual meeting of the American Society of Clinical Oncologists as a promising new treatment for advanced ovarian cancer. The amazing Dr. Kozloff knew about it months before it was announced to the public. That gave me a lot of extra confidence in him and in the program. Avastin doesn't work like conventional chemotherapy, which kills rapidly dividing cancer cells. Instead, this drug blocks the formation of new blood vessels that feed the tumors and allow them to grow, a process known as angiogenesis. Avastin became the first angiogenesis inhibitor available for use in the United States in 2004 for colon cancer. Ironically, actually used in conjunction with the drug my mother helped to trial 30 years before. I've been on Avastin at times along with 2 standardly used chemo drugs since I was first diagnosed. I still get an infusion every 3 weeks, preceded by blood tests and followed by scans every few months. That is my life, the life of a person living with a chronic disease. Dr. Kozloff has always assured me that whenever the disease returns, he has other new treatments in his back pocket that are brand new to the market, thanks to continuing research. So because I respond so well to the chemo, I am now at 46 months since diagnosis, almost 4 years. I've been on the yucky chemo drugs off and on for a total of 14 months, a couple months off for surgery. So that means I've been in remission and on Avastin alone, as I am now, for about 30 months total, with relatively few side effects that can be largely managed with other medications. Of course, the blessing of a serious diagnosis is that it gives you some real perspective on the priorities of life. Living in an attitude of gratitude takes work, but it's a great feeling. And while I'd love to be amongst those who help demonstrate the long-term value of some treatment, what I can say for sure is that the research that came before me helped me to experience these 4 bonus years. I have an amazing family and been blessed with these 4 years of my 3- and 5-year-old grandchildren's lives. Plus, I've never stopped working, which is also a blessing, since I still love my job after all these 36 years. And now, if you'll excuse me, I leave straight from here to the airport, where we're flying to Colorado to celebrate the wedding of my incredibly happy son. How much more can a person really ask